Welcome back, collectors. Today's video is part 2 of my Blue Card Hot Wheels series. We're going to be looking at all these cars before you. Several of the cars that you see, the loose ones, are directly from my Plano Hot Wheels Mint Loose display wall in the Hot Wheels room. And then, of course, a whole bunch of Blue Card cars that I've had boxed away, hidden from sight, haven't been looked at in quite some time. Many rare variations here, some of which are going to be opened up today so that I can be putting these beautiful mint castings onto my loose display wall that you see here, filling in some of these empty spaces in the Plano cases. That's the whole point of this, and also so that I can further enjoy the collection without just seeing it once every few years when I unearth it from some cardboard box in here. We're going to start out this video with a couple of the common questions that I got from the previous video, part 1 of this series. And this will be repetitive for some of the longer time collectors or Blue Card collectors in general. But one of the common questions I did see in the comments was, what is a Blue Card? Well, you're looking at it, that's a Blue Card. It's a card that is all blue, entirely blue, and they were blue from 1990 all the way through to 1994 with no change to the card other than the vehicle that you see here, this rendition of a car or a tractor or a classic car, a truck, or sometimes a speed machine car. And in 1995, the packaging changed to this faded blue and white card, otherwise still basically very similar as far as the card art goes on the top half of the card. But these ones are typically not nearly as valuable or collectible as the cars that you would find on the Blue Card, if the cars are the same car. That's the main point to make there. So in some cases there were carryovers where you'd find not this car, but as an example, a car in this packaging that would later go into this packaging. And the Blue Cards are usually the harder ones to find. Another question was, what does the number mean? Well, just like Hot Wheels of today, that in every Hot Wheel that's really been sold since this Blue Card series, all Hot Wheels have a number, and that's just a collector number. It's a way to, well, some of the packaging have collector checklists on them. Not that one, this one does. It's a way for collectors to check to see what vehicles they have and tick them off. As you can see, there's little check boxes here. And in this case, this is on the back of the Mercedes 380 SEL, available summer, fall 1990. And here it is, number 92. So that's what that means. In most cases, the number is specific to the casting, but not the variation, and not always the paint job. For instance, on collector number 106 of this VW Golf, you got this white version. Well, this was also number 106, a completely different paint job, released in a very similar time period as this one. However, later in the Blue Card series, probably a couple of years later, it was released as number 183. Same car, again with a completely different paint job and many different variations of that, which we'll get into in this video. The cars that you see here, basically in the packaging, I'm going to describe all known variations and certainly show you all the variations that I have already. Most of them are already loose, as you can see. Yet another common question I get is, and this isn't just specific to the Blue Card videos, but do the cars devalue by opening them out of the packaging? Well, I've done many thoughts and videos on that subject specifically, but just as a general rule, yes, generally the cars are devalued slightly when removed from pristine vintage packaging, which is the case for most of these cars. It's not devalued terribly though, unless it's a really rare card, which for the Blue Card series, there are some. Sometimes it's the card itself. Like for instance, this Ferrari F40 is on an Oshkosh cement mixer card. This was a known error of the time, and although possibly easily duplicated or replicated today with technologies and techniques, at the time, or at least a few years ago, this was considered a pretty rare card to have and worthy of keeping on the package. I really would like to add this car to my loose collection wall, as it has the gold 5-spoke wheels, and I don't have any other versions of it, so I'm still kind of on the fence about what to do about that. I really am not a carded collector, so for me, I don't really worry about the value in the future too much unless the car with the packaging is known to be quite a rare thing and or a lot of historical value. But these are all basically the same card, and I do keep the card backs, even on the ones I open. I just don't keep the bubble, they're the blister. So, you know, a little bit of just like a library of old advertisement, really of no value to many people, but of some value to me. Purely a collector. I don't sell any of my cars in my collection, at least I don't currently. That may come at some day in the future, but so far I'm holding on to everything, even all my duplicates, triplicates, and quadruplicates, quintuplicates. We keep going there. So let's get into the video, and we're going to start out by looking at a beautiful example of a Nissan 300ZX, all metal casting with opening doors, and a fairly rare variation here on the card. Looking at the Nissan 300ZX, the packaging here, number 54, claims to be a new model for this car, but it's not a new model because this car was first released in 1985 in this red paint job. And it's actually not even a new paint job for this car because it was released the year before, 1989, with the same paint job and the gold hot one wheels. Otherwise identical. So interestingly, 3 variations noted for this number, this card number in 1980 or in the blue card series, 1990. Strangely, and this is really strange to me, a completely different casting on the same card number. That's very rare in the blue card series. It may be the only one that I'm aware of at this point. Certainly not common to have 2 completely different models or castings, same model but different model years in this case. We've got the next generation 300ZX here. So that makes up one of the 3 variations. That would be the most common car to find on the blue card series of this number 54. This would be the second hardest one to find and worth around $30 according to Mike Zarnock's variation guidebook, which is several years old. I remember paying closer to $50 or $60 to get this one, and that was also a few years ago. If you were to find this car, the 1989 version with the gold hot ones, in this packaging, that would be considered the hardest car to find and worth quite a bit more just due to the combination of the blue card and this car. So kind of getting back to my previous statement about does it devalue the card to open it? Well, in this case it would. You'd turn, if this car was on this card and you opened it, you've basically got yourself a $10 car now, whereas it may have been worth $50 to $60, $70 maybe on the card to some collector. For that reason, because I know this one is a bit of a strange one, and I don't see this one come up with these wheels very often, I'm going to keep that one on the card, as will be the case for most of the cars in this video, if not all of them. This is probably the last video of the series so far, the multi-part series, where most of the cars, if not all of them, are not getting opened due to rarity. So we'll put those out of the way. An interesting variation of, oh my goodness, of this car. It's got the nice opening doors, all metal. I've got a version of it that would have been released probably on an international card with the gold hot one, or gold ultra hot wheels. These typically were found more commonly in the Canadian market per all the other vehicles. They were sometimes found on the American blue card cars, but there's no listing for this one. So quite a rare variation, I would say, and not one you're going to see come up very often. I don't remember what I paid for this, and the value on that, I would say, is quite subjective to whether someone's actually looking for it or not, which maybe now after this video they will be. And then you've got this version. This is the car that came out in 1989 on the original packaging. So that's why the new model description on that cardboard really doesn't make much sense, because we did see this car at least within the year before. So we're going to get all these little 300s out of the way. And now we're going on to the blown Camaro. 3 variations released in the blue card series. And these ones were number 58, So I've got mine a little mixed up here. I had, and I just realized this as I was assembling for this video. I had the cars, because they were also released in '89. These, what I thought these ones were. They have the blue tampo, and then a year apart, the blue tampo became like a light blue tampo, and that's pretty consistent. It's not just a one-off thing. It's true for all the cars. So there you got two blue tampos, and this is gonna fall over. And we've got the two aqua tampos. So as it turns out, it would appear that both color tampos were released in the blue card era, so that would be 1990. However, this one doesn't have a number, meaning it's probably a Canadian release only or international release car, because all blue card cars in the United States had a collector number, so far as I know. And let's see what else. The other way to check is for the multiple languages. You've got English and French, the two primary languages in Canada on the car with no collector number, and only English on the collector number car. So that's a really good, easy way to tell if you have a Canadian only car. Long story short about this car, the blown Camaro Z28, the blue tampo version, I believe now, was the primary car released for the blue card series in 1958. So I already have this car open. Definitely no need to open it. And that would mean that the gold hot one version here, also from the blue card series 1990. And this one here, a 1989 car in a 1990 package. So that would mean that this car with the gold hot ones, with the aqua or the light blue tampo, silver hot one wheels, most likely from 1989. And I thought there was a version with the gold hot one wheels. There probably is. These weren't listed. Now the most interesting car of the whole bunch, and I believe this is a blue card 1990 version, has a black tampo. Really, really rare. This is a, like, definitely well over $100 car. I spent a lot of money for it. I can't remember exactly now. I've had it for quite some time. So, really cool, rare variation. Not one you're going to see come up all that often. So that's my lengthy discussion on the first two cars. They should get moving along a little quicker here as we go through the next few vehicles. And the next few vehicles, we'll just shift the camera along here. We've got the number 67. Number 67, 32 Ford delivery with the blue, orange, and red stripe on the side. This one's got a good crumple in the top of the card. Collector number up to 92. What's that say? Some sort of assortment number on the package. I have this one already loose, but mine's a little banged up. It's got a few chips along the edge of the window. The wheels are a little beat up. It's still in really good shape, don't get me wrong. But I've always kind of wanted to put a mint example on the wall to replace that one, as basically all my cars are mint on the collection wall. I've got that one, according to the variations guide. Apparently it's worth $35 in the package. I would say it's probably not gone up much in value since then, but especially with a dinged card, it's really not that big of a concern. So I'm setting it free. Might be the only one in this video, but I'm setting at least one free. And there it is. Fresh out of the package after 29 years. I wonder if it still has that Hot Wheel smell. No. Interesting. Looks like we've got a little tampo degradation. The D in delivery is gone. Have to display it that way. But it's in marginally better condition than the one I had. And this is a version from 1989. This is a mint loose version. I just wanted to bring that out. It's a very similar paint job, just a different tampo. As you can see, it's got mauve or purple replacing the blue in the tampo. Pretty common vehicle from 1989. Much less common with the blue if you're looking for these. The next vehicle we're talking about was the Oshkosh cement mixer. If that's what this is, that would be the fastest cement mixer I've ever seen. So what we really have here is a number 69 Ferrari F40. For some reason, a big goof there from Mattel, number 269. A limited number of these were put out, quite a few still, considering, from what I remember in the Hot Wheels lore that I had researched on this particular model when I got it. I've had it for years. I don't remember exactly how much. I have no clue how much I paid for it, in fact. I do know that this gold 5-spoke version of the Ferrari is a hard one to find. Again, I'm not sure if it's specific to the Oshkosh cement mixer card or not. And this one, yeah, it's a US card. Obviously, this one is as well. This one's pretty beat up, but I already have this car loose. It was previously released in 1989, so a carry forward. And I didn't write down how much they're worth. They're pretty common, these ones, the silver ultra hot wheels. So I've decided I'm going to keep the Oshkosh cement mixer in the package, just because it's so silly looking. And I'll probably put that in a Protecto pack and just hang it on the wall as I do some of my more difficult cars to find. So here's that. Here's the one that we looked at in the number 69 package. In 1989, that's where these two cars are displayed on my collection. There was a rare variation that has a license plate kind of molded into the rear hatch. Why they would have changed that or bothered to change that, I have no idea. Otherwise, the cars are exactly the same. So that'll be coming up in the 1989 video, or if I've already released that. I'm not sure what order I'm releasing these, so maybe you'll already have heard about that by now. This one here has the gold ultra hot wheels and the license plate, so I might be wrong about that, or maybe this was 1989. I think that all the gold ultra hot wheeled versions of these cars came out in international 1990 cards, but I'm not 100% certain because there's so limited information on gold ultra hot cars, and henceforth why I'm quite hesitant to open up the many of those cars that you're going to see in this video. So moving along now to number 92 is the venerable Mercedes 380 SEL. This version, the international card with gold ultra hot wheels once again. I did a quick eBay search, was not able to find any of these. Multiple languages, English and French. So definitely, you can see that right there, the two copyrights, 1990 and 1990, English, French. So definitely a Canadian card, as probably don't need to keep repeating that. And in 1990 or thereabouts, this car was released in two variations. The first one being featuring these gold Hot One wheels. The other version having the silver Hot One wheels. And there's a third variation I forgot to mention with the silver Ultra Hot wheels. That one would be the most common, closely followed by the silver Hot One version. Really like this car in black. Looks really, really quite nice. So there it is. I have this one already open. These ones feature suspension. Quite nice. Really smooth rolling cars too if you listen. And that's thanks to those suspension silver Hot One wheels. And even the axles on this one, although the wheels are different, it has the suspension system commonly found only on the silver Hot One wheels. You can tell the difference between a Hot Wheel without suspension. It's got a much more clattery train roll sound versus the smooth, buttery sound of the silver Hot One suspension system. This car is apparently quite valuable, $40 in the old variation guidebook. So for that reason, I'm not opening it up. I don't have any other black Mercedes cars like this with gold Hot One wheels on it. So that's must be a carry forward from a different year. Just a really rare variation. And that's basically all there is to say about that. The other cars are, you know, $10, $20 cars usually. Now we're going to talk about the VW Golf, number 106 and number 183. So several years apart, or at least a year apart anyways, probably in production or release. 106, 2 variations. The very common and very nice paint job, a nice realistic all red with the GTI tampo. Really like that car. I actually like this car a lot better than this car. Color anyways. But that one's only worth about $10. Mint. And this one, what was this one worth? According to the Variations guidebook, $50 on the card. Quite a rare one. Now, the interesting thing about this car is it's rare in general. With or without the card, it's only worth more to a collector that has a blue card collection and is displaying them all carded. To me, I would really love to display this car. Otherwise, it's going, you know, hanging on the wall somewhere, hopefully, or it's going back in a box. But it is a very rare car, and unfortunately, the cardboard, unfortunately for me, the cardboard is in pristine condition. So I'm going to have to think about that one and put it back. Don't want to make any rash decisions here. 183, 3 variations. This is the second rarest. It's got the chrome plastic base. Really not that hard to find, though. I've seen just quite a couple of them just now looking on eBay for like 20 bucks. It's listed at being worth, what was it? I don't know, $15 or something, but thereabouts. Common version has the black plastic base. Pretty much like a $5, $8 car. And there's the black, was it black with metallic green, or it's green with black speckles, something like that. There is that version of the car out there. That's the rarest one, worth about $30 according to the Variations guide. I was looking for it. I thought I had it somewhere. If I do, it's buried. I can't find it. So I've moved on from that. And now we're going to look at the Ferrari 348. Very interesting variation to talk about here. So 3 known variations released in the blue card. We'll start with the most common. Silver Hot One, or Silver Ultra Hot wheels. I always get these two mixed up. And then you've got the Silver Hot One wheels, which is about twice as rare as this version, but still fairly easy to find. So about, you know, $5 and $10, $15 for those cars. This is a gold ultra hot wheeled version. Once again, an international card, no collector number, multiple languages. If this one had the number 118 collector number on it, meaning it would be an American card, if everything was in mint condition, that would be apparently a $200+ car. So either way, extremely rare, probably very collectible to someone. Without the collector number, not quite as collectible to people collecting the blue card series, because a lot of those people really want that collector number. I don't really know what someone would be willing to pay for this with these wheels in a nice card and blister, but without that number, French and English. I don't know. It's probably it is a very rare car. You're not going to find one looking it up. Again, just those wheels make that car rare, but I'm going to keep that one on the cardboard as well at this time. I would appreciate anyone's opinion in the comments, anyone's thoughts, ideas on what to do or what the values are of these cars, Rarity, in your experience. It would be nice to hear some opinions from people around the country and around the world and in the United States. Collectors, especially of blue cards, what you guys think of this, the carded collectors. And, you know, obviously I know most people are going to say leave them in the package, but I'd like to know a little bit more than that as far as values and opinions as to why. So here we have the Zender Fact 4. This would be release collector number 125. The Zender Fact was a card that was released 3 times in the blue card series. The next time it was released, it was under number 228. And again, I think maybe just twice. No, it was released again, number 177. Anyways, we'll get to those later. Number 125, they're all silver. 4 variations known. This is the most common, silver, ultra hot wheels. Another version, quite uncommon, would have Fact 4 in yellow or white letters. Just a little tiny tampo right ahead of that rear wheel. So you got Zender and Fact. So you'd have that tampo right there, also here. So apparently that might make it worth $15 instead of like $5 or $10, but I don't think too many people are collecting these cars. Honestly, I looked on eBay just now before the video, and there's tons of these things everywhere, including the Fact 4 variation. So I don't know. Personally, it's one of my favorite cars. It is loosely based on a real car. I can't remember what just at this moment, but it's not a completely fictitious car. It does resemble some sort of prototype car. Gold ultra hot version, apparently worth $150 if it had that number 125 there. Unknown value due to being international card. Okay, moving on was the 228 version of the Zender Fact. And this one has the clear windows. 7 variations of the 228. There would be, I think, 2 or 3 variations with the blue paint job. 3 different paint jobs under the number 228. Multiple tampo changes. Most notable for the blue, smoked window, clear window, and apparently there's a 3rd variation with kind of a not nearly as dark smoked window, somewhat transparent. Those are not overly valuable cars. They're quite common, like I don't know, $5, $10 basically. Apparently this one was worth $25 in the Zarnock variation book, but I saw at least 10 of them on eBay, so, and they were, you know, $15. They're just quite common right now. These cars here from the 228 version, got the package here of one of them. This was a hard car for me to find when I got it a few years ago. This one has the orange, white, and black tampo. And as I remember, this version was harder to find. It has yellow replacing the orange, the dark orange, red, and white. So I'll put those two side by side. I've got one already open up of the package version I have. I remember this one being quite rare. I think I spent like $35 for it at the time. I did see one of those on eBay somewhere. I think the guy was asking 30 bucks. But there was a ton of these ones here. Now, supposedly there's a variation with smoked windows of this. I did not see any of those, so I would say that'd be kind of rare. And one more variation I don't have is a very common $2 car, maroon with 5 spokes. Seen a million of those on eBay, so I'll probably pick one of those up for cheap shortly, so I don't know how I missed that in all these years. Final car we're looking at in this video is the 80s Firebrid with the Bradley's 99-cent price tag. Number 167. It's an American card. And I have one loose as well, but here's the difference. No extra lightning bolt. There's an extra lightning bolt just above the rear wheel, as you can see, on both sides of this car. A known and very rare variation. The common one here, easily found everywhere for, you know, five bucks basically. This one supposedly worth $20. I've never seen it come up for sale. I haven't really been searching for it very often, but that was a hard one to find, and I think I paid pretty good money for that car, considering it's on a really nice package as well. And the reason why I have all these cars on the package generally is because I was hunting for them at some point in time, and I just could not find them loose. The only way to find these cars with the really interesting variations like that, the paint, the wheels, the bases, was to buy them packaged, because generally collectors that have kept a car for, you know, coming up on 30 years, 25, 30 years, on a piece of cardboard in this condition, they know their stuff. So when they go to sell it, they're very specific in detailing what is for sale, making it easier for someone that's looking for it to find. Whereas someone that just has a bunch of loose cars banging around in a box or something, it might just go and throw them on, or if someone else is listing someone else's collection, let's say someone unfortunately passed on or decided to sell out of collecting, they might not know anything about the car, just put on 80s Firebrid, and you might be the lucky one to buy one with a rare tampo variation, but you can't find it by searching for it unless you're looking at every single ad constantly on eBay. or if you're extremely lucky at the flea market or wherever else, you may end up shopping for these cars. So anyways, that was a really long video. I need a glass of water. Got a little parched talking about all these cars. A lot more to talk about than I kind of anticipated. And still got a lot of cars left here. Now, the good news is, for those of you that like hearing cardboard and plastic being separated from one another after decades, that's what's happening with most of the cars that you see here now. I've basically got through just about all of the rarest old blue card stuff. All these blue cards are getting opened up, as are all of those cars. Maybe not those two. I don't know what those are doing now. I might not open those two up. Anyways, we'll still talk about them, but yeah, the rest of these are probably going to get opened up, or mostly of them are going to get opened up. Certainly all of those are getting opened up. And this is not the blue card complete video that will be coming. Probably, it's going to be a ways away, months away at least. That'll be a different style of video, where basically more like my year by year videos, where I'm just kind of going through every single car. Yeah, trying to limit the length of video. This is a long video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And like I said, any comments would be greatly appreciated. Happy hunting, everyone.